There is nothing complicated about this recipe. It requires no baking at all, and the ingredients are easily accessible. It does require a bit of time and effort, but it will be worth it. You can probably make these cheesecakes all in one day, but working at a relaxed pace is more my style. We're going to start with the chocolate decorations. Just get some leaves that are not likely to poison anybody, and make sure they're completely washed and dried. Then melt maybe around 30 to 50 grams of chocolate. If you're using a microwave oven, do this in short 30-second bursts to avoid the chocolate seizing or burning. Using a small brush, paint the leaves with the melted chocolate, then leave them to dry. Make around maybe 15 because we're making 12 cheesecakes, and it's good to have extra just in case you break some. When it's ready, carefully peel off the chocolate from the leaves. It's probably a good idea to wear gloves so your hands don't melt the chocolate again. Brush the chocolate leaves with edible gold dust. After you're done, keep them in an airtight container away from the sun. Now for the filling. Pour 250 grams of cream with at least 35% of fat in a medium-sized mixing bowl and only lightly whip it with a mixer. Then place it in the fridge until it is needed. Melt 200 grams of white chocolate in a double broiler or by nuking it in the microwave oven. Stir in 2 teaspoons of gelatin powder in 60 ml of just boiled water. Squeeze out 500 grams of mascarpone cheese in a large mixing bowl. Resist the temptation to just spoon it into your mouth. In the same bowl, add 5 ml of vanilla paste. I spread it a bit too much, but hey, there's no such thing as too much vanilla in life. Pour 150 ml of maple syrup into the mix. Using a mixer, beat until just combined. Pour in the gelatin and mix. Add the melted white chocolate and mix. Then fold in the lightly whipped cream that's been sitting in the fridge. At this point, you can just spoon in this cheesecake mixture into the molds. I use the piping bag because there's less mess involved. speaking of molds, you can either use cheesecake pans or brownie pans lined with baking paper. But I chose to use silicone molds because there's no drama. After you take the cheesecake out of the freezer, you just pop it out. I used 2 silicone mini loaf molds that I got from the warehouse. Tap the molds on the bench to get rid of air bubbles. Freeze overnight, or at least for 6 hours.
La la la. Hello, 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 hello. Here is the best baking show. Right now. Let's go. Today we're gonna make the praline topping. Get a non-stick pan
And toast the nuts
and toast the nuts
for 5 and 7 minutes.
for 5 and 7 minutes.
Yeah, that was my 6-year-old who's very interested in what mommy's doing. After taking off the heat, set aside to cool down. Then either crush the nuts in a food processor or do as I do, because I don't have one. Just place the nuts in a sandwich bag and use a hammer to crush the nuts, or just, a sturdy old mug. Grab 150 grams of butter, then cut it into cubes and put it in a medium-sized saucepan. Add 150 grams of brown sugar. I used coconut sugar because I grabbed it at the store by mistake, but it should still work. Cook this over medium heat, stirring until you have a smooth mixture. Add the cream. Add the salt, then bring to a boil. Simmer for around 3 minutes until it's slightly thicker. After giving it time to cool down, pour in the crushed pecan nuts. People went crazy for caramel last year. This year, they added hokey pokey. That extra crunch just makes it so good. Melt 2 packs for the chocolate dip. Take out your cheesecakes from the freezer. Pop it up one at a time. Put the silicone molds in the freezer until needed, so it's not melting on the bench while you're decorating. Lift the cheesecake with a toothpick and dip it into the chocolate. Cover the top with a praline. You can either spoon it on or use a piping bag. Keeping in mind that as it cools down, it will have the consistency of peanut butter. Decorate with whole pecan nuts and the gold chocolate leaf. It would be best to leave this out at room temperature for around 30 minutes before serving, because you want this cheesecake creamy and soft. A nice contrast to the crunch provided by the praline and the hokey pokey.
Can I have a bite, please?